All right, what is going on, everybody? This is Cell Dre, the host of the Follows Moving Podcast. I'm here with my boy Sharheem. So, if you've seen the clip that I posted on my Instagram of our episode that we did last week, Sharheem made a comment about Deion Sanders and kind of raised some flack in the comments. Kind of raised some flack in the comments, and I was in the comments defending him, but a lot of people who commented on his take on Deion Sanders didn't watch the whole video, so I kind of gave him the rest of it in the comments. But Sharheem insisted that we do a extended cut of episode 8, part 1, so he can get his take fully transparency for everybody who didn't like his take, you know. But without further ado, hey, Sharheem, the floor is yours, brother.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you for doing this so I can, kind of clear the air. And first off, what I'm saying to your fans is I understand that if you have your opinion and that's your opinion and you don't want to be changed, I'm not trying to change anybody's opinion, but I'm just going to think you stupid, right? And then that just has to be okay. And y'all going to think I'm crazy, and I don't care. But I'm going to go down the facts. And I just want y'all to know that a lot of football fans, they buy into what they saw on their TV, right? They buy into the media and the hype around players. And I don't do that. Like, I think Deion Sanders is a phenomenal, player. He definitely did a lot on both sides of the ball, especially in the special teams category. And he's in the Hall of Fame, right? And he's still having success now in the football arena. So I definitely don't want to take anything away from him. So this is not going to turn into I'm going to bash Deion Sanders to make somebody else look better. It's like, no, Deion Sanders is a great quarterback. But Rod Woodson is the greatest cornerback to play the game. That is, and you could argue that he's the greatest defensive back, but I'm biased. I like Ed Reed. I think Ed Reed he's my biased favorite, greatest DB ever. But
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, exactly. If you look at you compare Deion Sanders to Rod Woodson, and I'm gonna go through that. Like you can, and you're a true football mind. Not everybody that's a football fan is a football mind. You just can't comfortably just like, oh yeah, Deion is the greatest, and then call it quits. It don't work like that. All right, so let me go through this. Let me give y'all some stats, and then I'm gonna go through some of the common things that people say. So okay, so I want you to take into account that Rod played 17 seasons, while Deion played 14. So Deion took 3 years off towards the end of his career, and he came back from 2 years. So those 3 years, I can't hold against Deion, but I also can't I can't say, well, Rod, he was still there. Availability sometimes is the best ability. All right. So also want to start off and say, okay, so, Rod played 238 games and Deion played 188 games. All right. So, some of those, Deion missed a lot of games, a lot of seasons, over the course of his career, where Rod was pretty much, he was there. Like the man literally suffered a catastrophic injury and came back and played. He tore ACL and came back and played that same season. So like that's pretty much unheard of. All right. So that just speaks to a testament to his durability as a defender. And everybody know like this ain't today's NFL that these two men were playing in. They was playing in rough football eras. I'm sorry. Yeah. So he was durable, right? Like, especially as a defender, right? People say, well, they play cornerback. A lot of people say, well, Deion, he was a lockdown defender. But I'm like, he's lockdown cornerback. I'm like, well, they play defense, right? If you're a football player and you're a defensive-minded football player, we are there to stop the other people from scoring and gaining ground, right? Like, regardless of what position we are. So you can't just say, well, I'm a cornerback, so I'm just going to cover. I ain't going to do none of it. No. And then consider yourself the greatest at that position. It just don't work like that, right? So let me keep on going. All right. So coverage. Rod, his career total for interceptions 71, Deion's 53. All right. The most interceptions Deion ever caught in a season was 7. That was in 1993. That same year, Rod had 8. All right. So in Deion's best season, the most interceptions he's ever caught in his entire career, that same season, Rod Woodson had more than he did. And now, a lot of people's excuse to that as well. No one was throwing the ball Deion's way, because he was such a great coach. So you mean to tell me, right? We're all in the NFL with quarterbacks, right? And we're going to say, well, hey, we're not going to throw to Deion because he's going to catch a bunch of picks. But here we are. We have a guy who's comparable, and we're just going to throw the ball his way all willy nilly. Like, no, that makes no sense, right? So you can't. That's an excuse, right? They weren't throwing the ball Deion's way. No, we can't say exactly what they were and weren't doing, because if you're going to not throw the ball Deion's way and you're going to just challenge Rod all season, excuse my language, like you're just crazy, because, one man is clearly better. All right. That's my opinion, of course. All right. Okay. So also too, I got to point out, right? So toward Rod Wilson's, later in his career, as he got older, the man played almost until his 40s. I think his last season was 38. Right? Mm-hmm. He played safety, right?
Yes, he played both. Both positions.
Yes, right. So and he was all pro at both positions. Not just playing, he was all pro at both positions. And at the age 37, right? At age 37, this man had 8 picks that season. So, like, now I get it. Deion played, a couple years, I think a year or so after, year two after, Rod Woodson, had retired or whatever. But it was at the end of his career. He was older. I'm not going to necessarily hold that against him, but I'm saying, like, I can't, it was at the end of his career. I understand, you get older, you can't just do the things you can do when you were younger. But here is a guy who's like, he catching 8 picks at 37 years old. I'm sorry. Like, I'm 30 and I feel like I'm 50. Like, I don't understand what this guy was doing back then.
Respect.
All right. Okay. So let me keep on going. So if you cannot consider yourself the greatest cornerback of all time and not be a tackler, right? Because cornerback is a defensive position and tackling is.
So you saying Deion wasn't tackling?
Oh, wait till I get to the numbers, bro. So career solo tackles, right? Because everybody can group tackle, right? I'm saying it's mano a mano. You against this man that's coming at you full steam. Rod Woodson, for his career, had 530 solo tackles to Deion's 254. That's double. This is a defensive position we're talking about. You cannot consider yourself the greatest cornerback ever, and you can't tackle and you say, well, I'm a lockdown corner. The man I'm a lockdown corner, but this guy got more interceptions than you do. I'm a lockdown corner. This guy got more tackles than you. I'm a lockdown corner. This guy has 13.5 sacks to your 1 for a career. He's a corner. He's a defensive back too. Okay, now let's go to the next statistical category. All right. So Rod had 20 forced fumbles to Deion's 10, double again. 32 fumble recoveries to Deion's 13. We's talking about a defensive position. I'm gonna keep on saying that, because you can't be the greatest at a position, especially this ain't basketball where you gotta go, you gotta play. And then don't let me get to the special teams in a moment, because I'm gonna blow your mind there too. So you can't talk about being the greatest at a defensive position and don't be the greatest at what it encompasses to be a defensive player, right? Like, I get it. Deion was great. I won't take anything away from Deion, but what I'm saying is Deion was also more boisterous. You know what I mean? He was a big personality, and football needed it at that time. He was somebody for people to love. He was somebody for people to hate, while Rod Woodson was more of a solid professional. And unfortunately, sometimes when you're the better guy, but you're a solid professional, you just don't get the acclaim that you might deserve, and that's just how it works. At the end of the day, NFL is a business, right? And Deion was definitely great for business. All right, so moving on. Over a career, Rod Woodson had 12 defensive touchdowns to Deion's 9. Right? Okay, let's get into the special teams. So these are all career stats, right? I'm going career stats, and then I'll touch on like a couple, like, a record or two here or there, right? So
yeah.
For career punt return yardage, Rod Woodson had 2,362. With his highest return year, he had 398 yards that year. Dion had 2,199. In his highest year, he had 407. So that was a pretty big year, but he still don't best him in terms of a career, right? And I think that should matter if we're talking, who's the greatest of all time, right?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, let's keep going. So kick return yardage, right? For a career had 4,894 kick return yardage, with his best year being 982 yards, right? That's a pretty good year for kick return yardage, right? And then Dion's all-time kick return yardage is 3,523. With his, he did set a record for kick return yardage. Like the man had 1,067 yards kick return alone. That's a lot, right? Some people don't have that in a career, and I won't take that away from them. But you if you're gonna put that much acclaim to that, you have to look at the full body. And this man almost had 5,000 kick return yards for his career. Dion didn't get to 4,000, right? And then I get it, yeah, he missed 3 seasons, but we can't assume what he would have done those 3 seasons. And we also I can't assume what he wouldn't have done, right? All I can go off is what they accomplished and what they didn't accomplish, right? So Dion does have the edge in terms of, like, punt and kick return, like, for touchdowns. So Rod had 2 punts return for touchdowns and 2 kickoffs return for touchdowns, while Dion had 6 and 3, which, I mean, that's still a lot. 6 and 3, and that ain't no kicks returns and punt returns. That's a lot, right? I understand that, but it's not like Rod wasn't performing in that category as well. Right? He performed there too. So that kind of goes to the point of people saying, well, Dion was more versatile, but he wasn't, right? He wasn't more versatile, right? But he did score more touchdowns, so I have to give him that due, right? All right, so Pro Bowls. Excuse me. Rod went to 11 Pro Bowls. Dion went to 8, but they were both first All-Pro first team 6 times, right? But mind you, Rod did it at both cornerback and safety position, and he played safety later in his career, so he was still a formidable, like, defender, defensive back well into his, like, late 30s, right? And then they both won Defensive Player of the Year. So Rod won it one year, and then the year after Dion won. However, I just want to point out that the year that Dion won Defensive Player of the Year, Rod was second in the voting. So the year that Dion won the Defensive Player of the Year, Dion had 6 picks, 300 for he returned 303 yards, and then he had 3 touchdowns, right? But that same year, Rod had 4 picks, 109 yards, 2 touchdowns. So, Dion edged him with the picks, the return yardage. So, you got to give him that. But he has not one year has he ever made more tackles than Dion, ever. Except for there was one year where Rod, like, it was 95 season where he didn't play, or he played one game. I think he was injured for that one season, but over a career, like, the man was there. He was durable. He was playing at a high level, and I understand why people love Dion. I think Dion is, he's definitely an all-time great. He's a big personality, and I just think Rod Woodson is not a big personality. He's not out there selling himself. He's just on the field, making plays where it counts. You know what I mean? And then some people, well, Dion only won 2 Super Bowls, Rod only won 1 Super Bowl. But I'm like, I don't give or take credit for team accomplishments. I'm going off what these 2 men individually produced, not what their team did, right? This ain't basketball. Like, football players are team-minded individuals, right? So I'm not going to say, well, this person had more Super Bowls. So, like, it don't work like that in football. Right? Same basketball. So, I'm curious what you think about this. I'm just curious what you think about all of this, right? And then hold on. Give me a second. Let me say one more thing, right? Because a lot of people will say, well, you can't just look at the stats and say this guy was better. I'm like, well, what are we talking about then? What else is there to talk about? What is there? You can't talk about? Well, this guy was more prepared, or he was more feared. I'm like, this man is out here producing better numbers for longer, and you can't argue with numbers, right? Because it's not like somebody just slapped these numbers on a sheet of paper, and they're not real. This happened. The man was on the field. He made these plays. He produced these stats, and you're foolish if you don't think his play is induce fear into his opponents, right? Just because he didn't talk about it on TV, he wasn't loud and boisterous, like that don't mean people didn't fear him. Just because people don't talk about him all the time also does it. You can't. That's the difference between a person who likes watching football and they think it's cool and they just want to be a part of the conversation, and a person who understands football and understands who's just talking and who's really making a difference, right? Like Deion, and that's not me saying Deion didn't make a difference, because he definitely did, right? Like, I won't take, like I said, I won't take anything from Deion, but it's just like, y'all not gonna keep on trying to play my man Rod Woodson. Like he wasn't out there catching picks, hitting licks, and running the ball, running, catching punts and kicks and taking them back for some good yardage, because that can change a game. That special team yardage, even if you're not scoring a touchdown, it still made a difference. You take a punt return, kick return back 40, 50 yards, bro. That's half a field. You know what I mean? So, what's your take? Think I'm tripping? You think I'm tripping still? Do you still think I'm tripping?
Hey, man. First off, I would like to say I appreciate you for breaking down those numbers. You were very precise, very, very cohesive and precise in your numbers and how you compared the two. Now, number one, let's start with special teams. Okay. You basically saying that Rod Woodson had more punt and kick return yards than Deion Sanders over a career.
Fact.
That's a fact.
That's a fact.
Okay. Who held the record for touchdowns and punt and kick return?
Oh, that'll be Deion.
Before Devin Hester broke it.
Oh, that's Deion. Deion had the record for the most touchdowns. I mean, I won't take that away from him. That's a fact. He had the record.
Okay, so productivity is not a issue here, because both of them were productive. Yeah. And in terms of yards, obviously Rod Woodson was more productive. But when you talk about special teams, it's like the touchdowns gotta matter at some point. Matter. But you can run the ball all you want, but if you ain't scoring, really don't matter. But if you consider ball placement, like that matters.
Okay.
Because if you run it, like if you have all those yards, obviously you're putting your team in a good position to score. But
so I brought in the special teams yardage and touchdowns, right? Because I understood that Deion had more touchdowns than he had the records, right? But that was just to show that, hey, this man Rod Woodson was still a force to be reckoned with within this sphere. But I'm saying is, but like in terms of playing cornerback, right? I don't count the special teams in terms of how I assess them as a cornerback, right? As a defender. I just say, hey, that's just for the people who's going to say, hey, well, Deion was doing kick returns. But I'm like, this man was doing it too. Deion was scoring more touchdowns. Yeah, true. I got that. Cool. But this man he was still catching, he was still returning punts, still returning kicks, and still performing at a high level, still locking down wide receivers and, hitting the running backs and, forcing fumbles and catching picks. That was the point of me bringing in special teams. So that way I don't want people to minimize what Rod Woodson did in the special teams game, while understanding that Deion Sanders was like, he's definitely, like, outside of Devin Hester, he's definitely second best to Devin Hester. in terms of like that return game. Like Devin Hester got that on lock. Nobody can take that away from him. Deion is definitely the second. He revolutionized that part of the game. I will give him that.
Okay, I think special teams is used for a tiebreaker. It's kind of like if you got two guys.
No tie.
No, I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Deion the GOAT.
I mean, Deion the GOAT. That's how you feel. I'm not gonna argue with it.
99% of the earth feel that way.
But it's like this, right? 99% of the earth can be wrong, bro. Like there was at one point 99% of the earth believed this shit was flat. You know what I mean? So it's just like you can't. That's what I'm saying. That's why I let off what I let off. It's just what people believe have nothing to do with the way I see it, right? That's the point of me.
Some of the all-time greats believe Deion was the greatest cornerback of all time, bro.
Wow, because you know what's crazy? You know what's crazy? People love to do that, right? Especially these like these all-time greats that you're talking about, right? It's easy for them to say, well, yeah, Deion, you don't want to look this man Rod Woodson in the eye because you don't even want to talk about him.
You know what? I feel like because of your style of play, football, you like to hit. Exactly. Rod Woodson was a hitter. Exactly. That's why you favor him so much.
Exactly. I will say that I think I want to believe that I'm unbiased, right? Because it's not like I'm a huge Rod Woodson fan. I'm not. Like
you're biased,
but I'm biased because I understand what it takes to play on defense, right? Like Deion Sanders was a guy that should have been a wide receiver that just happened to play defense. That's what Deion was. He wasn't a true defender. You can't. A
true defender
was not a true because true men.
Sharheem.
True defenders in football, they tackle. You cannot because somebody will say, "Well,
Deion was tackling though." It wasn't like Deion wasn't tackling. He was tackling,
bro. Think about this, right? Do the math, right? 14 years.
If your cornerback
divide,
bro,
divide. Think about this. You got to think about it. Remember, right? Back then, what was the dominant offensive strategy in football in that era? It was not this air raid. Those dudes was running the ball. They running the running back era. The running back era is what they played in.
I don't care what era it is. If your cornerback is making most of the tackles, that's a problem.
Oh, I'm not saying
your defensive line and linebackers are boo boo. But if your cornerback is making the tackles,
that's an assumption.
500 some tackles. It's some linebackers who have that many tackles, bro. We have that many.
But that's what I'm saying, though. It's like
not the Rod Woodson. No, not the Rod Woodson, no. But I'm just saying.
But think about this, though, bro.
You can't because cornerbacks are. Come on, bro.
But think about this, though, bro. You want to look me in my eye and say, this guy is the greatest cornerback, right? Which means he's the greatest defender. No, listen to me. You want to look me in my eye and say, this man is the greatest cornerback, right? Which is a defending position, right? And he gets away with not tackling because he's a lockdown. He don't even have more interception than this man. Even in his best year, this man had more picks than him in his best year.
I'm gonna say this. Okay, I'm gonna say this.
It's like, hey, look, I know I can't change people's opinion.
Believe this. I can't believe you're saying this, bro.
I can't change people's opinion, but
it's not an opinion. It's a
no. It isn't. What fact are you?
Deion is the GOAT.
Hey, listen, bro. If that man is your GOAT, then I feel
he is the GOAT.
Boy,
he is the.
But he's not even the GOAT punt returns, kick returns. That's Devin Hester.
He was for a while until Devin broke it.
Him once was.
Bro. You gotta okay. Bro, no. But you have to take. You have to put this in mind. You got buying this sports he broke the he had the record while he was playing cornerback at the level he was playing at, bro. Okay. He had the record.
But that's what I'm saying. We're not talking about who's the best return man.
We're not. We're talking about who's
the best cornerback. Who's the better defender?
Santos.
Now you're just trying to provoke me.
No, I'm not. No, it is.
You're provoking me.
Bro, you're using an argument about tackles. Cornerbacks don't need to be tackling like that.
If you go and talk to any defensive
Dion
coach,
tackled, bro. He was a good field tackle too.
Bro,
Okay.
really?
Okay. Yes, he was.
This
Okay.
man had 254 tackles in 14 seasons, bro. I know people who do that in 2. There's linebackers do that in 2. That's 2 years worth of tackles in the linebacker position.
Bro, that still don't mean he wasn't a good tackler or he wasn't tackling.
But think about this. We're not talking. These are solo tackles. You making a tackle on an offensive player by yourself. This man doubled your tackles. Doubled. It ain't
That's
like
because the defense.
No, bro. No.
And the defensive lineman.
No. Dion won't tackle it. And when I say he won't tackle it, I mean he was covering. That's all he was doing was covering.
He's a cornerback.
And Rod Woodson was also a cornerback.
So tackling, that's not a big. You gonna use a factor? That's not a good factor.
What? Well, okay. Well, what factor do you have? Like, I'm not talking about your opinion, right? What statistic do you have that will lead you to believe that Dion is better? Give me something. I'm giving you everything I got. Give me something.
Dion got just as many first team All Pros than Rod Woodson.
Not more Pro Bowls, though.
Longer.
Not more Pro Bowls. And mind you, Dion.
You can make a Pro Bowl and be an alternate.
This man.
First team All Pro just as many times.
They both got 6. So how can you say that's
okay?
Better? How can you say?
You say more productive. Dude got more. It's the same as many first team All Pros.
He's still
they both got the same amount.
He still got
they both got. And then on the last video, you talking about he was the best of his generation. Rod Woodson was in his generation.
I came back and I said I don't even think he was the best of his generation. I came back. No,
you said that he was the best of his generation. Rod Woodson was his generation.
I said maybe he was the best of his generation. And at that time, right? At the time when we had the last video, like in my head, I couldn't remember who I was talking about, right? Because you got to remember, like Rod Woodson retired in like 2003 or something, right? So I remember having this thought before about Dion not being the best, but at the time I just couldn't like pull it. I'm like, who? I was thinking about somebody, I just couldn't figure out who it was, right? And then I'm like, oh, okay. I figured out. I thought about it. I was like, okay, yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. That's better. And then I was just like, oh, okay, cool. But I mean, if that's what you standing on, it's like, they got the same number of first team All Pros. Okay, cool, whatever. If that's your, but I'm just saying in terms of like the numbers, right? The man got more sacks, he got more tackles, he got more interceptions. Like, what else do you want? What else do you want the man to do?
I mean, LeBron appeared in more finals than Michael Jordan, but Michael Jordan's still the GOAT.
But I don't want to get into that because I think talking about finals as
talking about stats.
No. I'm
talking about individual. More this. He got more that.
I'm talking about individual productivity.
I ain't heard nobody say that Rod Woodson was the GOAT.
But that's because people don't know what they talking about. They just be saying whatever they regurgitate. Everybody be regurgitating. I never thought LeBron James was the GOAT. And I never thought Jordan was the GOAT.
Who played the game at a high level, who are in the Hall of Fame with Dion. Dion's the GOAT, bro.
Because they won't get Dion was letting them off the line. My boy Rod was.
So you biased.
Yes.
You're biased.
So what? Everybody is biased. Think about this, right? Think about this. Normally, right? It's so weird how sports fans are, right? Because one, I never thought LeBron James was a GOAT. And I never thought Jordan was a GOAT. Because you can't, in my opinion, people say, well, Jordan went to 6 finals and won all 6. I'm like, it's a team sport. How can I take a team accomplishment?
6 finals MVP.
Okay. That if you say, well, this man got 6 finals MVP, then okay, cool.
I mean, he was the best player on the court in the finals.
Okay.
You got to account for that.
That's an individual accomplishment. I'm saying is
you got to count for an individual. That's what it come down to. Individual stuff.
That is a solid point that I
You could
won't
be on a good
argue with.
team. You could be on an amazing team and be boo, bro.
I will not argue with the fact that Michael Jordan has 6 finals MVP. I won't argue with that. Because LeBron James don't have 6 finals MVP. Right? But all I'm saying is a lot of people argue with team. Like I never brought up how many Super Bowls they won, right? Because I don't care. Because just because a guy has more, you can't use team accomplishments to say one guy is better. It's a team in a team sport. We got to compare. We have to compare individual production, right? Individual production, and I can't give a guy credit for stuff he didn't do, and I can't take away stuff. You know what I mean? I'm not picking and choosing. I'm giving credit to the things that individuals accomplish. I'm not taking anything away from them. I'm giving them everything. Like when we talked about special teams with Prime, I'm like, yo, Prime, the man was scoring them touchdowns, but Rod had more yardage at it. And for the sake of saying like, hey, yeah, you know, to people who would argue that Dion was returning punts and stuff and Rod wasn't, but I'm like he was returning punts and he was doing a good job and he maybe won't scoring touchdowns, but okay, cool, I'll accept that part of the argument. But I'm saying as a defender, right, somebody who like identifies with the men who play defense in football, I'm just like, if I gotta pick one of these two men to be on my team and they in their perfect, prime and they playing at the highest level there, I'm taking Ron Woodson every day. Because why? Because there's nothing this man won't do on defense for my team. I don't need anybody on my team that can't do the things that I need them to do for my team to be successful. Right? So this man Rod, he can cover. He definitely covered. He covered with the best of them, right?
Was Rod a traveler? I don't know if he was or not. Was he just was he a traveler?
I can't 100% speak to that.
I don't know either.
I don't know. I ain't gonna lie. But and I ain't gonna make no assumption about whether he was or wasn't either, right? And then because I've watched games of him, but I just at that point in time I wasn't really watching like all of the specifics. I just remember I was like, yeah, nah, this guy definitely the Dion, right? From a defender's perspective, right? So this man, he will come up to the line of scrimmage and talk. And I know earlier you said you don't want to talk about errors, right? But I want to bring up something very specific, right? In the era of football that these two men played in, right?
Different.
The number one way of scoring touchdowns was actually running the ball.
Yeah, they weren't passing like that back in the day.
They weren't passing like that, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like this man ain't just saying, "Well, I'm just gonna cover." That's why I don't get paid to tackle. When I say tackle, not that he's not making tackles, but he's not effective in stopping and shutting down the run. And this man, Rob Woodson, is. He's a part of the run defense as well as the pass defense. And in my opinion, you can't consider yourself the greatest at something and not be the all. You know how I feel about like literally all around greatness. You have to be great at. You can't just pick one part of it. I'm the greatest at this and say I'm the greatest. Like no, this man was great at all aspects of being a defensive back, at cornerback and safety. And that's it. And whether you change your opinion or not, that's besides the point. I just really get tired of sports fans shucking and jiving and just going with what sound cool, or what you grew up with. I'm like, no, bro, like this man was really out there putting in that work. You know what I mean? And I just get tired of people taking stuff away from people. Like saying that Michael Jordan is a GOAT is so disrespectful to like so many people. Bro. Because like it's
your
like,
GOAT and he the GOAT.
Bro, listen, man. How? Let's do a separate. We're gonna do a separate show on that one. We're gonna do a whole separate show on that. I don't even want to get into it right now.
Who's your GOAT then?
Huh?
Who's your GOAT?
My GOAT?
Yeah.
My basketball GOAT?
Yeah.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. We're gonna get into it.
And he better be top 5. He better be top 5.
Well, he's number 1. That's
he better. No, I'm saying he better be. He better be like And the majority of people, like, he better be a top 5 all time, bro.
Okay.
Because I believe top 5. I mean, honestly, the top 2 is usually between MJ and LeBron. Sometimes it's Kareem. Kareem be thrown up in there sometimes, but the top 5. I mean, you can make a solid argument who to go in the top 5 or top 3, one or two.
And I just want you to understand that
he better be top 5.
I'm going to go off individual
productivity, or top 10,
not off team accomplishments. Because you can't tell me somebody the greatest. I'm like, bro, like, well, basketball is a little bit different. You can, because one person can like definitely influence outcomes in basketball, but you can't do it like you can't.
Oh, definitely. NBA championships are held to a higher regard when you talk about who's the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? And especially if you were the best player in that finals or not. Yeah, of course.
So I get that that's different, but we'll go through that.
But football a little different. You're right.
Football is definitely different.
Yeah.
And like if we talk, I wouldn't even talk about offense because it's just like to be honest, it's just like offense is like somebody asked me, well, who's the greatest wide receiver? I'm like, my greatest wide receiver probably ain't nobody greatest wide receiver, but that's just who I like. You know what I'm saying? It's not based off like stats or nothing. It's just I like the way this person played the game. And if you wonder who that is, my favorite all time wide receiver is Marvin Harrison. Like that's my guy. Like,
that's fair.
You know what I mean? You're like, so
he's one of the best. He's one of the best of all time. You're right.
Statistically speaking, the greatest ever is the one and only Jerry Rice. Like nobody touching them records. And there's people like, well, Randy Moss broke that 1 year. I'm like, bro, this man did it over. We talking about the GOAT, not a guy who had a really couple great seasons. I'm talking about a man
people
who did it at a high level. Yeah, but I'm like, listen, this man did it at a high level for many years, well into his 40s, bro.
Yeah, you got to take that. You got to take that into consideration.
When you're talking about the greatest
durability,
of all time,
durability, yeah, you got to take that. Yeah,
you can't have a great season to be the greatest of all time. It don't work like that. You gotta have consistent productivity over the course of a career.
And you know who my GOAT running back is?
Oh, running backs. We didn't even get it. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
My GOAT running back is Barry Sanders.
Oh, that ain't no slap. Barry is definitely like
a lot of people say Emmitt Smith because he got the record, but either is Emmitt Smith, he has the record for the most rushing yards in NFL history, career wise. But if you look deeper into it, Emmitt Smith, the team he played on, that offensive line that he had, compared to Barry Sanders' offensive line and the stats that Barry Sanders was still putting up behind that offensive line, because his offensive line was trash when he was playing. He retired early. He had over 15,000 rushing yards in like 9 years. That's crazy.
What I'll say to that is this, bro. I've as I've gotten older, right, and like kind of talking about, so I try my best not to take away, right? So if I'm gonna compare Emmitt Smith and Barry Sanders, I'm not gonna say, well, Emmitt Smith had a better offensive line than and then Barry had a trash. I'm not gonna say that. I'm going to isolate things, right? And I'm gonna take apples and compare them to apples, right? And compare their individual productivity, but in a way that's comparable, right? And then I'll go from there. But like, I mean, you can't really go wrong with either of those two. You know
yeah, they were both good. They were both all-time greats.
It's definitely an argument.
Walter Payton in there too. Mm-hmm. Walter, because he had the record before Emmett broke it.
But I honestly don't have an all-time great running back, bro. I just don't.
Mine Barry.
I don't, bro.
Hands down.
It's like
Barry.
I just could never be like, yo, this guy's better than everybody else, because they just be so, like, running backs is kind of like they're their own thing, bro. Like, but for me, I don't have because I like the different styles that people run the ball. I get like Emmett was like the beginning of that finesse running, and it's just like I could run you over if I wanted to, but I'm gonna try to give you a little something,
yeah,
and keep it moving. And then Barry is the ultimate, like You know what I mean? And then you have people like my boy who Aaron Dickinson.
Power runner.
He trying to run you over.
Yeah,
He's straight
power.
line. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? And
he still got the record for the most yards in the season. Yeah,
people got close, but ain't nobody.
Dang, I wanted AP to break that. He was gonna break it too. He was like 2 yards short or something like that.
14, I think it was 2 top like. And
Dude,
then Derrick Henry
was
was
like
short.
Two more runs.
Yeah,
Derrick Henry was short. Adrian Peterson came the closest though.
No, I think Derrick Henry came the closest a couple years ago.
No, it was AP came the closest, bro. He was like
maybe 8 yards.
One more play.
Yeah.
One more play.
Yeah. But
I watched that game too.
And then, I mean, I feel like a lot of people will say Tom Brady the greatest quarterback because he's on won so many Super Bowls. He do got all the records and stuff statistically, but I mean that's just one of those things. It's just like that's where like the business side of sports come in, and I try not to get into it because it's like you can't really. It's not fair to say, well, this guy he did because I can't in one breath say, well, this guy did this and then blah blah blah. But it's just like business always factors, right? Like you just don't know how much it factors into it, right? So it's like I was saying, Deion Sanders is great for business. He was. That's why everybody think he'd go. Because Deion was the guy in everybody's face. Like, yo, I'm here. I'm like this guy Rod Woodson. Nobody remember Rod Woodson. Nobody remember him.
But bro, it's not. I don't think it's just because of he's good for business.
Bro, do I think Deion is like the greater athlete? Yeah,
yes.
and not because he was more athletic, but I'm talking about things he did outside of football. The man is the only person ever to score a touchdown in the Super Bowl and hit a home run in the World Series. Like,
come on,
that is. I just want people to know I have nothing against Deion. I'm just very precise about things, right? So if you say this man is the best cornerback, you gotta give me defender stats to say that, right? If you want to say Deion Sanders is the greatest athlete, I could, I might not agree, but I still can understand why you said it because of all the things he did outside of just football. You know what I'm saying? The man was a freak, freak of nature, and I understand why people do think he's the greatest. I'm not saying that you like necessarily stupid for thinking he's the greatest. I understand why you would see that or feel that way. I'm just saying like for me from this defensive perspective, I'm just like nah, like I won't give him that because it's just like bro, like on defense we hit, we cover, we do everything. We don't pick and choose. We do all of this shit. So that's how I feel about it. That's my biased opinion.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, you got Deion up there. You got Rod. You got Darryl Green. You got
Broncos.
You got Ronnie Lott.
Champ
Bailey. Champ. You got Champ up there. I mean, you got so many.
Like in my opinion,
own reasons.
I think Champ is probably one of the most sound fundamental. I
agree with that.
Like cornerbacks, I think he's the beginning. He's the beginning of like the fundamental football. Like
I think he was a tech. He was a technician. I agree.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I just felt like, I just think I just wanted to shed some light on the man Rod Woodson because my man he deserved that, bro. He deserved that, especially you can't be playing with real defenders, bro. You can't do that.
Look, man, I'm not knocking you.
You can't bring offensive thought to the defense. Like, if you want to argue about who's the GOAT and the wide receiver, and you want to talk about how people felt, what they did, okay, cool, do that for offense. But on defense, we don't do that. If you want to be the best among the defenders, you got to do everything. You got to do everything. You can't not do everything from a defensive perspective. And if you talk to any defensive coordinator, any defensive coach, they want their cornerbacks tackling. They want their cornerbacks engaged in the run game. They want them covering. They want them doing everything. They don't want a guy who only can cover. Otherwise, you just got who's the dude from the Rams, Jalen Ramsey. You just got Jalen Ramsey all over. we need people that can hit, that can cover.
Jalen Ramsey can hit too.
Bro, no, he can hit them little.
He can. Have you seen some of the tackles he made, bro?
But he hitting them little.
Come on, Sharheem. Come on, Heem. Ramsey do tackle.
He do tackle, but I'm just saying,
No. He be bro.
Bro, come on, man.
He do be hitting, bro. He do.
Slot backs. Everybody hits
He
slot
do.
backs.
No running backs, wide receivers.
Man, he be
Yes,
okay.
he do be hitting.
Okay, bro. He be tripping sometimes. He be tripping, bro. And I watch him play.
He had some play. He had some moments where he got beat. I know Jamar Chase, for example, but come on now, he do be hitting though.
See, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about just it's different, bro. You gotta like I said, you gotta compare.
I just don't understand how you holding Deion Sanders hostage because he didn't have so many tackles. Like if you didn't have to tackle, then what's the point? Like
because it's a deduction, right? Like
how is it a deduction?
Because think about this, right? The two things that stood out to me, like, so Rod Woodson got double the tackle, and then let's talk about sacks, right? Like 13-1, right? Which that tells me something. That doesn't tell me that Deion can't tackle. That tells me that he's not actively engaged in the run game. And think about this, right? If teams, right, are running the ball more times than not, right, in this league that they're playing in, so that means you're not engaged in the dominant aspect of this game.
So Rod was just another linebacker.
He played cornerback, bro. He also, but think about it. You can't say that. Listen, he's a defender. He's engaged in every aspect of the game. That's why I say he's the greatest. Because it's just like it ain't that I like him. It ain't that I like necessarily his style of play per se. But it's just like if I'm looking at all these people, like, and I'm analyzing from a defensive perspective, it's like this guy is the guy that's better than all these other dudes because he's doing everything that it takes to be a great defender. Which is why, like, remember what I said, right? I said Ed Reed is my all-time greatest defensive back. Not Rod Woodson. Ed Reed is my all-time great defensive back above everybody. You know why? Because at the safety position, he was catching picks, hitting licks, and moving the sticks. Bro, as a safety, he was in the run game. He had designed blitzes as a safety. You play football. How many times you see your safety?
Of course, they're gonna put you. They're gonna put their best players in where they can affect the game the most. Which Ed Reed did affect the game a lot in the special teams, on punt block for one, because he blocked a lot of punts.
I'm just saying, bro. And that's my biased opinion. You know what I'm saying? That's my bias.
I think he got the most. I'm not sure if I'm right or not, but I think he got the most yards returned for touchdowns, for interceptions, like most, like return yards, touchdowns, something like that.
The man was a savage, bro.
Yeah, bro. When he intercepted the ball, he wanted to take it back with us.
He was definitely trying.
Yeah, he tried to return it. Yeah,
like, bro, let's go, mama. Eat Tostitos.
Yeah, he was trying to return the ball.
So you know what I'm saying. So all I'm saying, I think what I will say is this, right? Agree to disagree, whatever. I think I made a great argument, right? I don't think anyone.
Your argument was based on stats, though.
Oh, what?
Bro, like Jay said, the eye test matters, bro. It matters.
Test, bro? What's the eye test, bro? What's the eye test? What eye test are you testing?
What do you see in person? Like, what do you see? Who's better?
Have you ever watched that man play? Have you ever watched?
I watched both of them.
When?
What you mean when?
When did you watch Rod Woodson play, bro? The man retired in 03.
Film. YouTube research. I mean, I watched them play. Okay. I wasn't old enough. I wasn't old enough to watch them live. I mean,
go back and watch again. All right, I'm gonna do that. Go watch again, and then tell me what you think after you go watch it. Don't tell me what people said. Go watch. Don't go watch some highlight.
Bro, when you boil it down, the individual accolades, bro, they neck and neck. They're literally neck and neck. Besides the Pro Bowls, okay, they both got Defensive Player of the Year. They both got 6 first team. How many second teams does Rod have?
Well, he went to 11 Pro Bowls, so we can just assume that he had what? I can't do math. 5, yeah, 5 second team. Mind you, I remember I brought it up, right?
No, you go to the Pro Bowl and not make a All Pro team.
That's what I'm saying.
How many second teams though?
Oh, I don't know. I ain't looking to.
Bottom line, they neck and neck.
All I want to say is this, though, right? The year that Deion won Defensive Player of the Year, Rod finished second. The year that Rod won Defensive Player of the Year, Deion ain't finished second. He was like third or fourth.
But they both won one. That don't matter. They both got one.
I mean, if that's how you look at it.
Yeah, they both got one.
Cool. I'm cool with that if that's how you look at it, bro. I'm just saying, like, he scored more interception touchdowns than Deion did. You got that count.
All I'm gonna say is it's a reason why 101% of the earth believes that Deion Sanders is the greatest cornerback of all time. It's a reason. If it ain't stats, because you just named off the stats. Basically, he got more. Rod got more tackles. He got more. Interceptions in a career. Like it's a reason why he's considered the GOAT, man. That's all I'm saying. It's a reason.
What's the reason? Hold on. Don't answer that question because I know why people. Listen, right, bro. I'm gonna explain this. People believe what they hear and they see on TV, and I'm gonna give you the greatest example of this.
That's bro. You can't use that, bro.
Listen.
It's people that never seen Michael Jordan play basketball and say that he's the GOAT.
I know that's stupid. How can you say somebody's a GOAT and you never watched them or seen them play? What are you comparing this to? You have to have comparison to decide if somebody is better than somebody else. You can't just never see nobody else play. You can't just watch Michael Jordan one time and say, "Oh, he's the GOAT ever." Or you can't just watch nobody else play and only watch Michael Jordan and say he's better. You have. So
are you picking? Are you picking Rod Woodson because he has more? Because he's more. He tackles more.
No, I'm picking him because he's the better defender. At the cornerback position, he's the better defender. If it's fucking, think about this, right? Let's say if it's 4th or no, let's say if it's 3rd and 10 in the red zone, right? Where the team could either run it or pass it. I don't fucking want Deion Sanders in because he ain't no fucking help in the run right there. If they pass the ball, yeah, he probably make a play. But I want the guy that can make a play regardless of what they
do. Deion can make that play too, bro.
Okay, if that's what you feel, I can't tell you wrong.
It ain't how I feel. It's the truth.
Okay. You think Deion coming up laying a boom on the running back in the backfield? No. Ain't no video of him ever doing that. Not one.
There's no video of him. There's no video of him getting shook or juked or not missing a tackle when he had to make the tackle. He made the tackle.
Okay. I promise you, if you go watch the film, there is.
Where is it?
This is an assumption, but
show me.
I don't have no proof of that, but I'm saying, like, if you play defense, every defender missed some fucking tackles. Like, no defender, but Ray Lewis has been run over, right? Like, there was bro, everybody missed tackles. Everybody have bad plays on defense because defense is the hardest. But
you're saying because Rod Woodson said, "Oh, I have an option to make the tackle. You know what? Let me go in there and try to make the tackle." And Deion, because he chose not to tackle when he didn't have to.
He's not trying to make the tackle. He's making the tackle.
He didn't have to.
Because if that's your point, bro. If that's what you believe, if you put that guy on your team,
he didn't have to.
If that's how you feel about it, that's fine, bro. Like, it's all Gucci. This is friendly territory.
He didn't have to.
Hey, bro, he did. You know what I mean? He had to do it because Rod was doing it. You know what I mean?
I don't think that's a fair a fair analysis comparison because tackles, I would rather use tackles for linebackers.
I gave you more stats than just tackles. Why are you focusing on that one thing? I went down a whole list.
Okay, interceptions.
He got more.
Nobody.
You can't say that, bro. That makes
yes, I can.
Think about this.
The same argument can be used for Darrell Revis.
Think about this, bro.
Nobody threw to this man's side.
You mean to think about this, right? Think about this. Right? You mean to tell me? So let's pause. Right? Let's go back. Right. So the year Dion had the most interceptions, right, in his career was 1993. Right. That same year, Rod Wilson had 8. Right. And so you mean to tell me that, and mind you, Rod Woodson went on to play until 2003, so that's a whole other 10 years. You mean to tell me that people were just like, oh well, this Rod Woodson, he ain't nobody. I'm just gonna throw the ball over there. He ain't gonna do nothing. That makes
Well, the
sense.
question is, did he play? Did he try? Did he travel or not?
But it don't matter.
Did he play man or he played man more?
But you see what you're
was
doing?
he zone or?
You're doing something that I wasn't doing, right? What I wasn't doing, I wasn't creating scenarios to.
I'm asking.
Because
Dion was a known traveler. So if Dion, if Dion is lined up against the best receiver,
because he was a covered corner. That's what I'm
if
saying.
Dion was lined up against the best corner all game,
you ever seen a blown coverage? That like, you ever seen a blown coverage, like a blown pass coverage? You know why
yes, sir.
Pass coverage is? Because you got players like Dion who they travel, right? I need both of my cornerbacks to be able to cover and come up and hit. I need you to do both. I don't need no fucking travelers on my team. I don't need no guy to just cover. It's weird, bro.
He took your number one receiver out of the game.
Did what? And then what was Rod doing? Nothing. He was just oh yeah, you go and score, bro. Go score, huh? You got it. No, he was out there. He was out there in traffic making plays. And you're foolish. You're foolish.
Dion was making plays too.
Okay, he was making plays in special teams. We're not talking about special teams. We're talking about defense. We're talking about defense, right?
Their accolades are pretty much the same, bro.
Okay. Their production ain't the same, though. Their accolades might be, but their production ain't the same. And production matters. And, you can say that prime all you want. I don't care. I don't care what you say, bro. Just like all these other people in the world that you be talking about. You know what I'm saying?
So if you're using production, then you got to use Super Bowls then.
No, because you can't produce a Super Bowl as an individual player in football. There's too many.
You can individually change the dynamic of a game, though.
We're not talking about changing the dynamic of a game. We talking about your ability to make your team win the Super Bowl. We're not talking about change. I can't account for that. There's too many ifs for me to say, well, this guy was more. We talking about pure individual production.
If that's the case, then they should get rid of Super Bowl MVPs. Then
they should. They're pointless. Every year it goes to the quarterback of the winning team. Unless the only time it's not going, we had this discussion. The only time Super Bowl MVP goes to somebody else is that person basically had a way better game than the quarterback did. Like otherwise, if the quarterback had a solid game, the quarterback is Super Bowl MVP. It's a quarterback.
Okay, so
just like NFL MVP, it's an offensive trophy. It don't mean anything to when you play defense. When you play defense, bro, that stuff don't mean nothing to you. You trying to get out there and make that play, make that tackle. And that's what Rod Wilson was doing. He was making the plays and making the tackle. And you can say, well, Dion didn't have the tackle, whatever. But I promise you, go talk to any defensive coordinator, and if they don't know the two names of the two guys, they're gonna want that guy that's tackling. I promise you. If you want to remove bias, show people their individual stats side by side with no name. And I bet you that the defensive coaches, they're like, oh, I want this guy right here because he's going to tackle. He's going to come up and make the hit when I need him to. And that counts, bro. It might not count to you. It might not count to the other 99.9% of the earth out here, right? But those men who play defense, that shit count every time. It count. Because them linebackers, they get they miss tackles, bro. Off defensive linemen, bro, they out there fighting them offensive, tackles and guards to make sure that somebody behind them can make the tackle if they can't get to them themselves. So they appreciate when those DBs come up and make them tackles.
So you saying the corners appreciate the linebackers that can cover?
Yes, they do. They 100% do because it make their
job. And that can make the most interceptions.
It make their job a little bit easier. Yeah. cornerbacks.
You like saying it's like saying Ray Lewis wasn't making tackles, but he was intercepting the ball though. He was in coverage.
He was making tackles though. He was doing both.
I'm just saying. I'm using the hypothetical. I'm using the same argument as you using for cornerbacks.
I'm not
for linebackers.
Ray Lewis is regarded as one of the greatest
linebackers. Dang, Warren Sapp wasn't making no tackles. He wasn't making no sacks. Yes, but he was in coverage though.
Warren Sapp was making sacks. That was his job.
Exactly. Okay. That was his job.
Okay. Well, what was Rod Woodson' job then? He was doing both.
What's a corner? What do you use cornerbacks for? What's a cornerback's main job?
To stop the offense.
To cover.
No, that's not his main job. See,
linebackers. What's the first assignment for? No. Run first. Run in coverage.
No, listen,
bro.
That's some
linebackers.
Did you play defense, bro?
Yes, I was all by city line. I was all by city linebacker in my. I was all by city, bro. You play to run first as a linebacker. You play to run first.
I know what a linebacker plays.
Come on. Okay, so as a cornerbacks are not playing run first.
What are they playing first, bro? They playing pass first. That's what you think. Cornerbacks play down.
They're back. They're sitting back, or they playing man, or they sitting back.
Cornerbacks play down the distance. They don't play man.
Bro.
They don't play the receiver. See, great cornerbacks. They playing down the distance, right? They playing down the distance. They're not worried about the receiver because they know they're better than them. They know
the cornerback is the third option of making a tackle.
No,
if the defensive lineman didn't make it, the linebacker didn't make it.
Not on my defense.
Not unless you got a corner on the line trying to blitz, or they bringing them down as a extra linebacker or outside linebacker. Then defense, okay, but
on my defense, cornerbacks they play
to run first.
They play down the distance. If it's first and 10 and on the offense on their own 30-yard line, like they play down the distance. Okay, cool. It could be either or. It could be a run or a pass. I'm watching the sticks, but it's just like obviously you never really know what a team gonna do until they do it. But my cornerbacks playing down the distance. If they come out and they run that ball, you better be there making that tackle, bro. Don't give me no. I cover. Bro, I don't want to hear that. You a defender. We out here trying to stop them for whatever they do, because that's just like saying if linebackers all they do, go watch teams who all their linebackers do is worry about the run. They get gassed.
I didn't say that. I said they play to run first.
No, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Imagine if a linebacker said, "Well, I don't cover. I just I tackle running backs. That's all I do." That's the same.
And it's running. It's linebackers who are trash at covering, but they're dogs at running. They're stopping the run.
And none of them are considered the greatest of all time. None of them. You only get considered the greatest of all time when you do everything. That's why Lawrence Taylor is considered the greatest linebacker. Because he could stop the run and he could stop the pass. He could do both. You can't be the greatest at something if you can't do both. You can't do the whole job. It's just like saying like this person is the greatest, whatever. And they got one thing that they're good at. You cannot be the greatest at being good at. You can be if you say Deion Sanders is the greatest cover quarterback in history, right? I might be like, okay, well, cool. But every time you say, well, no, Deion Sanders is the greatest corner, I'm going to say no. So I'm like, in order to be considered the greatest cornerback, in Sharheem Taylor's humble opinion, you got to be able to be cover, and you got to be able to be effective in the run game. You can't give me this, oh, wow, he ain't have. I don't want to hear that. You're not the greatest. Because that means somebody else was doing what you was responsible for on those plays. You're not part of the run fit. If all you're responsible for is coverage, you're not part of the run fit. If you're not part of the run fit, that means somebody else has to do double the work to take up for you not being part of that run fit. And I don't want to hear that. And that's hard, bro. You need everybody to tackle. You need everybody to tackle on your defense. Because those run holes open up real fast. And if you don't got the person, if everybody is not in their run fit when they're supposed to be there, you got touchdowns. Go. Right, and what happens when people start running the ball and they gas you for 9-10 yards of play? They start gassing you on coverage. Now they're going down the field, and your one corner can't cover everybody that's going down the field. So no matter how great he is in coverage, right, it's cool. a full member of the defensive team, you're not part of the run fit. You only do you're not an effective member. You can't be considered the greatest.
Bro,
I just never accept it.
Just because Dion wasn't in there trying to hit stick.
I never said
every time, bro.
You don't gotta be trying to hit stick.
He was tackling though, bro. He was tackling.
About 254 tackles over a 14-year period, bro. You're not tackling. Bro.
He's a cornerback, bro.
But let me do this math real quick. Let me do this.
He's a cornerback.
I'm averaging because
I could see you said a linebacker, but he's a cornerback.
Bro. Oh, maybe let me see. Maybe I did the math wrong. No, I definitely did it the first time. Bro, guess how many tackles that man averaged for a 14-year season? Guess what the average? Obviously, it's some high, some low. But guess what the average is for a 14-year career? Guess.
What's the average?
18 tackles per season for 14 years, solo. Not the gang tackles, because I'm not counting what the team did together. I'm counting what you did. For 18. You mean to tell me that? But you know how many plays happen in a game on average?
Okay, so
there's 75 plays, right? There's 75 plays. No, I'm gonna say it. There's 75. That football games average 75 plays across the board. It don't really matter, right? And then if you think about it, roughly half of those are offense, half defense. Give or take. So you mean to tell me for you averaging 18 tackles a season? And they running the ball. Ain't like they passing every play like they do now. Like they running the ball. Come on, bro. Don't give me that. I was born that night, but I wasn't born last night. Bro.
He was a cornerback.
Okay, bro.
Not a linebacker.
Okay, that's cool.
It's just ironic how you saying you putting all this emphasis on tackles. Rod Woodson got double the tackles, which is awesome. That is beautiful. That's phenomenal. That's amazing. So why do they have the same amount of first team all pros?
I don't know, bro. That shit voted on, bro.
Please tell me that.
I don't know. I can't speak to that point. It's voted on.
So. You know what I mean? You are biased. You're biased because you have a certain style of
what I value.
You have a certain style of.
I value what people who play defense value. You talk to most people. You know what I mean. You talk to the guys who really about football and really about defense. I'm not talking about like the fans. I'm not talking about fans. I'm talking about people who really know and understand football. Like not people who just like having a conversation.
Bro, those same people that you're talking about got Deion Sanders.
The people I'm talking about. The people I'm talking about.
He's considered, widely considered, as the greatest cornerback of all time, bro.
By who? People that don't
in NFL history.
Okay.
Widely regarded.
Widely regarded don't mean much to me, bro.
It's the GOAT.
Some people regard Tom Brady as the greatest football player of all time. That's widely regarded. Does that mean anything to you?
He's the GOAT, bro.
Oh, the greatest football player of all time, Tom Brady. That's what you're gonna say to me, right here.
He's the greatest of all time.
The greatest football player of all time.
You gotta give it to him. You got to.
Okay.
You got to, bro. You got to give it to him.
Why? Why?
You got to.
Why? Because he's not. He's not the greatest football player of all time.
He's not the greatest athlete of all time.
He's
the greatest. He's the greatest.
He's the greatest football player. You mean to tell me you're going to say Tom Brady is the greatest football player of all time?
He's not the best. He's not the best football player in terms of athleticism and stuff, but he is the greatest, bro. He's the GOAT.
The greatest football player of all time. That's what you said. Say Tom Brady is the greatest football player of all time.
Tom Brady is the greatest football player of all time. He's the GOAT.
You hurt my heart, bro.
He's the GOAT, bro. You hurt my heart. Tom Brady is the GOAT.
Bro, why? Because he won more Super Bowls.
He got the stats. He got the accolades. He got the longevity. All the things. All the things. Look, all the things that you heard about Rod Woodson, Tom Brady got. He got the stats. He got the longevity.
No, because all of these stats,
longevity.
Every stat that I named for these two,
he got all that.
No, every stat that I named for these two gentlemen, Rod Woodson and Deion Sanders, right, were stats that they produce by themselves.
Exactly.
If you take yards after catch away from quarterbacks, bro, they don't have any yards.
You making it seem like these Patriot teams that Tom Brady was playing on were like,
bro, he was throwing 5-yard jump passes and getting 50-yard touchdowns.
Bro, Tom Brady.
Nobody, listen to me.
It's the reason why he won them Super Bowls.
I want you to hear me and hear me clearly, bro. No quarterback will ever be my greatest ever. I don't want to hear that, bro. Because being a quarterback it ain't like he like a point guard or a shooting guard. Is man like no.
The quarterback is the most important position on the field, bro.
According to who?
The quarterback. If you ain't got no quarterback who can hand the ball off to the running back, I don't care who back there. You ain't doing nothing.
That ball don't.
If you ain't got no quarterback to throw to your best wide receiver, if you ain't got no quarterback to throw it to your best wide receiver, you ain't got no receiver. Who cares?
I still, bro. I will never.
The quarterback position is the most important. That's a fact. It is.
That's not true.
It's the most important. You need a quarterback, bro.
For all time, bro. No, bro.
You need a quarterback.
No,
you need a quarterback.
No, you don't.
You can have a subpar running back.
Bro, the Ravens won.
You can have a sub. You can have a exactly Joe Flacco. You know why? Because he didn't turn the ball over. He didn't make mistakes. You have a quarterback.
Yeah, I'm not saying
good defense cannot, bro. A good defense.
I'm not saying you can put a bomb. Mind you, I just want you to remember that Broncos team, because you know I'm a Broncos fan now. They won the Super Bowl. Peyton Manning is a quarterback. That was not the Peyton Manning.
Bro, the reason why the quarterback position is more important because you can overcome bad defense with a quarterback. You can score. You can outscore a team. Yes, you can.
You can't overcome bad defense, bro.
Yes, you can. You can't overcome bad offense because defense, bro. Quarterbacks can score. Offenses score, bro.
No, bro. You can't overcome
what defense scores every drive? What defense scores every drive?
But most of these offenses ain't scoring every drive. What do you mean? That's their job. That's their sole purpose is to score.
Okay, for example, Kansas City Chiefs. Their defense was not good at all this season. They weren't considered a good defense.
Now,
but Patrick Mahomes' offense, bro. Patrick Mahomes, their offense.
But
because it can score.
That Kansas City,
you can overcome bad defense.
You can't overcome bad defense.
Yes, you can.
They had a good secondary, bro. You
just score.
You're taking away to give credit. I don't take away to give.
I'm not taking away.
You're saying, well, his defense was bad, but they scored. What I'm saying is, Kansas City Chiefs had a good defense. Whether you believe that or not,
they did, but it wasn't like the Philadelphia Eagles.
But what I'm saying is,
I'm talking about for the season. For the season.
Okay.
The Philadelphia Eagles had a good defense.
Why did the Philadelphia Eagles lose? Because their defense ain't getting
their offense, bro. Because they could not, because of that mistake that what's the name made?
Jalen Hurts. One play
offense.
You can't place
that was the turning point of the game, bro.
You can't. He
fumbled the ball. He dropped the ball and they ran it and they got a touchdown off that pick. Off that. If they didn't have that if that play didn't happen, they would have won that game.
But how do you know that happened in the first quarter, in the first half? Statistically, hold on.
No, happened in the second half.
No, statistically, right? You know who wins football games? The team that scored the first touchdown in the third quarter, regardless of the first half. The first score of the third quarter, that you can normally bet for a certain, good certainty that team gonna win that game.
And who scores that touchdown? Offense or defense?
The Chiefs scored that touchdown. But my point is, I want to bring is that day, right, in that game, the Kansas City Chiefs defense was better than the Eagles defense. The offenses were neck and neck. So, you know what I mean? You're never going to convince me that like a quarterback is the greatest player of football. I'm like, bro, no, because every stat that you use to compare them is based off other people's production, not their own production. You can't say a quarterback threw 50 yards without saying, well, his wide receivers had all 50 of those fucking yards. It ain't like he's throwing it to himself. It's just like Tom Brady has had
Okay,
great
you could
wide
say the same
receivers,
thing
bro.
about running backs. You can say the same thing about running backs.
What?
If you can have the best running back in the league, if your offensive line is trash, then they not gonna get off. Just
That's
like
not true.
a
We
wide
literally was just talking
receiver,
about Barry Sanders.
a
Barry
running
Sanders
back,
got off for a whole career with a
a
trash
running back,
line.
a running back,
Barry
and a
Sanders
wide
got off.
receiver are dependable. They're dependent
On who? On
on
what?
all, especially wide receiver. They're
Okay.
dependent on the quarterback.
So you mean tell me this, right? So a guy, because this happens all the time, bro, where quarterbacks literally get all the glory because their numbers are such larger, but ultimately it's like it's the other guy doing the work, actual production. Because if Tom Brady throws a screen pass that goes for 90 yards, he get all 90 of those yards every time somebody touches the ball, except for when it's a run play. And even then, if it's like a little shuffle pass, he still get those yards. So it's just like, no, he's not the greatest football player of all time, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
That's fine.
If you want to say he's the greatest quarterback ever, cool. But I don't even know if I want to say that. And people are like, well, he got 7 Super Bowls. I'm like, I don't care. You will never convince me that somebody is better than somebody else because of a team accolade. I just think that's foolish. Like I will never succumb to the ring thing that has become of sports today. This guy got more rings, so he's
I'm
the
just
best.
saying all the quarterbacks that are considered goats, like are interchangeably goats, all got Super Bowls, bro. They all got Super Bowls.
That's a
All of them do.
testament, and I get why people say that because it's like one of those things, kind of like a testament to leadership or whatever. But it's just like okay, I'm not. I mean, leadership is just one of those things. It's just like, bro, like I'm not comparing a team accolade. So because it's like this, right? Tom Brady replaced a good quarterback. He replaced Drew Bledsoe. That team was good as hell before Tom Brady showed up. It wasn't like Tom Brady came in there and revitalized and revamped the program. And he took over. He came into a great situation. The man is the luckiest man in America. Period. Like he literally took over a great situation. The Patriots was going to be great without Tom Brady. The same way when he was out for that season, and they still did just fine. Like Tom Brady is good, don't get me wrong, but he's not the greatest player ever. It's like it's not me saying like, oh well, he's a system quarterback. Like every quarterback is a system quarterback because they all run a system, right? That's not a good argument. The point that I'm making is that their accolades rest on the production of other people. So I'm just like, no, like I can only compare what you did. I will only give you the greatest if what you did solely is greater than the other guy. Not what you did with your team. I don't want to hear that. My greatest football player ever, Ed Reed. I don't want to hear it. Ed Reed, he's the greatest football player. He's the greatest player to suit up and play the game. Ed Reed. Ed Reed. That man needed to be in the Hall of Fame twice.
Tom Brady
And,
go,
and
bro.
if my late great homie Sean Taylor didn't pass away so abruptly, he'll probably be my number one. But I can't go off what he ain't do. And if you Tom Brady your GOAT, and you all hail Tom, hey, that's cool by me. I was just looking at you sideways.
I'm just looking at this from an unbiased opinion.
Bro, I don't
You
care.
are
My opinion
notoriously
biased.
biased. You are
Yes,
notoriously
yes.
biased.
Because I pick a side and I stick with my side. Like it is what it is. I'm biased. I'm biased because I pick the side.
That's fine. Just as long as you acknowledge the fact that this is you have a biased.
Yes. I'm
Okay.
biased. I am biased. I believe what I believe and I stand on that. And it ain't some weird like, oh, I'm trying to be cool and go against the grain type. Nowadays, that is just no. This is what I assess. This is what I believe. It matters, and I stand on that, right? Because if somebody is
it's all that matter.
I'm not gonna take
stand
nothing
on
from
it, bro.
Stand
on it. That's what
I
I'm
think
talking
Tom
about.
Brady is great. I just don't think he's the greatest person to ever play football. Though that's weird. Anybody that thinks that is weird to me. Because the first thing they're gonna say is, "Well, he won 7 Super Bowls." And he like, bro, no, don't give me that. Everything that he achieved was a team, was him and somebody else doing something together.
Okay, so he has 7 Super Bowls. He got I don't know how many
50,000
Super Bowl
passing
MVPs
yards.
he got.
He got the most career passing yards, the most career pass touchdowns. He's number one in every quarterback statistical category for a career. All of them, every last one of them. I still won't say the greatest player. And I know how hard that is.
GOAT. Okay. And he played 20 plus years.
Why was that? Why? Because that's just
because the game of football changed, bro.
Exactly. It
changed. Protecting the quarterback.
It's cool. He still ain't the GOAT though. He ain't the greatest football player of all time. You know who the greatest football player of all time? Who? Lawrence Taylor.
Okay.
Lawrence Taylor.
That's a good argument.
You know why? Because
that's legitimate.
Lawrence Taylor is the reason why Tom Brady even existed. Not really, but the thought of people like Lawrence Taylor is why, the game changed, bro. The man changed the game. So that's that. And then Drew Bledsoe also, poor Drew Bledsoe. He was the beginning of Tom Brady. His demise was Tom Brady's great rise. You remember that? When Drew Bledsoe got injured?
Yeah, I remember.
Tom Brady came in and I think pretty sure he won that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm glad we could do this. I'm already past my bedtime by an hour. I gotta get up at 4:00 in the morning.
Yeah, you know how you do. Once you get going, you going.
But I'm still going to the gym in the morning though, bro. I gotta be at the gym at 4:30. So I need to go get me some rest. You got any closing takes that you want to leave? Don't insult me by saying somebody to go. Don't do that because then I'm gonna start up for another 40 minutes.
Look, man, we're gonna have another episode about some of the stuff that we touched on.
Yeah,
Jay gonna be on here.
We gotta get Jay back.
We're gonna get into some more analysis because your takes are.
Hey, bro,
your takes are wild, man. It takes a while.
I think I learned. I will say this: I learned from Dion, man. You gotta put what you think out there, and then regardless of what you think, people gonna love you.
Hey, man, when you in school, and you doing papers and stuff like that, you're not graded based on if it's factual or not.
I ain't in school no more.
You getting graded on your opinion, and if you can back it up with evidence. That
that's what I did today.
If you did that, you accomplished the task. That's all I can ask for, man.
Thank you.
That's all I can ask for. Hey, man, I appreciate you coming on and addressing the public.
These are your fans, man. These are your fans.
These are not my fans, bro. These are random people. These are not people that follow me, bro.
That was coming at me hard too. Way lucky I don't got Instagram. I don't have no social media, so don't look me up.
And they said, "Who is the guy in the middle?"
Who is this guy? You don't know what he's talking about, my bro.
Somebody said, "Man, this man smoking weed."
My head. Somebody got dropped on my head.
That was Nick.
I know who it was. I'm like, bro, you know me. I dropped you
Nick 16.
He know I would drop him on his head. He seen me. I'll be out there with the killers, man. People forget, you know what I mean? It's all good though, bro.
Nah, I ain't forgot. I know where you come from. I know you good stock. You come from good stock, bro. You come from good stock.
I'm just saying, bro. I'm not. I just don't talk about, football kind of sore subject for me. It didn't go the way I would. So I'd be a little sad about something. At the end of the day, I know what I know.
But hey, man, I ain't trying to knock your opinion, bro. Just like I was saying in the comments, bro. It's your opinion. Stand on it.
That's true.
Respect.
That's what I came here to do.
It ain't like you saying I mean,
I ain't say
it
that
ain't like
bad
you
about
just picking
Dion.
some random cornerback as your greatest of all time. Now, if you would have said that, then you know what I'm saying.
I ain't said nothing bad about Prime. You know, I love Prime. You know, I just have my
and you just
opinion
said,
about stuff. So.
look, when you said Dion ain't the GOAT, that's what triggered people.
Yeah,
So they
but
was
it's
like, what? Let me leave a comment.
But it was what really up there
Bro, I
too,
was
bro.
like, Jesus Christ, people were trying to, dang.
Hey, bro.
I ain't had that many people comment under my post before, bro. Never.
Bro,
That's
you
a
know what's
record, bro.
crazy?
People still commenting under this stuff,
I
under
got
this
plenty
thing.
takes. I got plenty takes, bro.
Need to have them.
Bro,
Need to have them.
bro, you have people
Need to have them.
flooding your comments every night if you went through all the takes I got, bro. People don't want to hear
Hey,
me talk, bro.
and the reason why I respect your take so much is because that it's not like you just talking, subjectively. It is your opinion at the end of the day, but you're coming with actual numbers. Like you coming with factual stuff. It's not like you just saying Rod Woodson is the GOAT and then just saying that's it. But you're coming with you comparing numbers and stuff like that, which is you can't refute that stuff.
Yeah, you can't. And even if you say, "Well, Dion is the greatest," I'm like, "Okay, cool. I mean, if that's your opinion, cool." But you can't say nothing bad about Rod Woodson. The same way
No, nobody's saying no.
I can't say
No.
nothing bad about Prime. Like people say Prime Time, they greatest
Either
cornerback
one.
ever. I'm
Either
like,
one.
okay,
You can
cool.
go with either one.
You can go with either one. You
Whatever
know?
your preference is for your
Yeah,
what type of defensive style you like, you can go with either one. And
so
all the
ain't
other
like
ones we named, you can go either one.
I picked some random weirdo or some dude who's still playing in the league. He ain't he been in the league 2-3. Like no, I picked somebody with the resume, the pedigree, everything. You know what I mean? It's just if you want to edge and say your edge is Dion, okay, cool. I ain't tripping. But don't best believe me. You know what I'm saying? Dion know who the real goalie is. Dion
Man,
know he was like, that man be balling. I bet I would love to see them two just talk, bro, because I feel like
I'm sure they be talking back and forth, going back and forth. I'm sure.
I feel
I'm
like
sure they do.
I feel like it'll be good to just see them two sit in the room and just talk about like I'm better than you. That's gonna be crazy. Yeah.
Bye, bro. We about to hit my time limit on this post, but appreciate you coming on, addressing, breaking down your last take, because some people want to take your head off. So I appreciate you coming through, breaking it down.
If anybody wants to take my head off, just let your fans know.
But that's good though. But that's good. We need more of that. There's more conversation. That's it.
Let your fans know I'm quick with it. Quick with it. Quick witted and quick witted. If y'all ain't catch that.
It's all good, man. Hey, I respect you. I respect you even bringing your opinion out there, putting it out there, because a lot of people scared to do that. They're scared, bro. They're scared to do that because they're scared of what people gonna say. You know what I'm saying? As long as you got an opinion, you can back it up with, you know what I'm saying, with stuff. Who cares?
My last thing, bro, I'm gonna go ahead and go is this: is that what I don't want to do and what I would I'll beat myself up for this is disrespecting people because at the end of the day, both of these men played at a higher level than I ever.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't. That's the one thing I won't do. I won't talk trash. I won't say, well, this man was a bum or blah, blah, blah. Like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna show respect to both people because they both did something that's like amazing in its own right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think I just obviously I got my opinion. You know what my opinion is. It's just I do have a lot of respect for the stuff Dion did too. So
respect. All right, bro. Appreciate you coming on. We got more episodes to come in the future. More takes, more crazy takes, more out of field takes. J-Lay gonna hop in.
Back. Yeah. Shout out to J-Lay. He's taking care of the family, like a real man should. So, we appreciate him. So I'm sad he went on here today to kind of come with that.
Yeah, because he's gonna say it. You know who's gonna say it.
Yeah, so
All right, bro.
All right,
I'll let you, dog.
All right, peace.